Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Hi, welcome to the New York Parrot Literary Corner. I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host. Welcome to the show. And today we have Lorraine McMillian, who lives in Wilmington, Delaware. She enjoys writing stories and poems, but mostly poems. She had a tutor at a young age who helped her with reading and writing, and she is thankful for her help. She has learning disabilities and emotional issues. Writing poems helps her so much, and she feels blessed. She loves bowling and going to movies and also taking photos. She has one book out called Deep Blue Ocean of Thoughts, a collection of poems. Thank you for joining us today, Lorraine. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to talk with you. I hope we'll have a great conversation about your work and poetry. And so what do you write about in your book, Deep Blue Ocean of Thoughts?
Well, that was in 2018. That book was in 2018. And I wrote about a lot of things. I write a lot of emotional poems because I'm an emotional person.
That's excellent. I think that the passion that we have as poets, as writers, we have to be able to deal with that in a constructive way. I mean, we're always very emotional people, ironically.
Yeah.
I think that it's a very difficult task to be a poet sometimes. So, what makes you desire to want to write? What is it that prompts you to write?
I felt that I lost my voice as a young age in a family that there was a lot of abuse. And I found poetry thanks to a tutor that I had at a very young age. And I fell in love with writing and I fell in love with words. And it's a great way of finding my voice and sharing with other people.
That's wonderful. I think it definitely has a capacity to be able to, share what you're feeling. Sometimes you can bring out feelings in a poem that you would not be able to necessarily express personally to somebody or to something. And you'll be able to write it in a poem. Do you find that you can do that?
That I can do writing. I'm sorry.
Well, when you write, do you ever find that you can talk, like, have a express an emotion or a feeling?
Oh, sure,
that you don't have the capacity, you don't have the ability to do it in person with somebody. You have a ability to share with them a feeling or a thought that is not able to come out like when you're talking to them personally.
Can I give you an example of one that happened yesterday?
Sure,
I
feel
wrote
free.
a poem yesterday. Okay, so keep it in your own pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You think I blinked and missed the rude comment. No, not true. I know what you are trying to do. Get off your high horse. Don't, please, use your words with such force. Think before you speak. Know that I'm not all that meek. Keep your comments in your own pocket. And while you're at it, lock it.
And that rhymes and it has a flow to it. That's a really nice example of taking a poem and using it to express. In that case, it was anger.
Yeah, somebody frustrated.
Yeah. It sounded like somebody maybe made a snide comment or said give you advice you didn't want or something like that, and you were just kind of like, you know what, take it and keep it. I don't need it.
Right, exactly.
People are always in everybody's business all the time. Everyone loves to be in everyone else's business. So
too much to say. Too much to say.
Right. It's always in everybody's face all the time. So what exactly, what kind of writing habits do you have? Do you write daily or do you write?
Daily, I write all the time. Every time my head is very busy, so I write constantly. And I'm unemployed right now. I'm looking for a job, but now I really have a lot of time to keep writing and sharing with my poetry with groups and sharing, like just reading out loud to myself.
Do you find that the pandemic has maybe caused a lot of people to be more interested in poetry, or because this has created a situation where people have a lot more to do because they're not as busy, I think, so, I mean, is that something that affected you, this COVID stuff?
I really like, I really like the Zoom because, it's very easy to get on. You don't have to drive somewhere and everybody's just right there in front of you. It's just great.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent tool. I mean, the internet has really came at the right moment because at this point we're in time where we have this pandemic. How do we communicate? I mean, how do we talk to each other? It's hard to find a space for that when we have to wear our masks and do all these things, and so we can just sit down and have these conversations with each other through the internet, and we don't have to go out of the house. Like you said, you don't have to drive, you don't have to search and look for the place and to meet somebody. So that it definitely is a very positive experience in its own right. So how does it feel like to write with disability, with learning disabilities? Is there challenges you face that you find that you are able to overcome when you write?
The biggest challenge I have is my eyes. And when I have to read, I sometimes lose my place. And that is a challenge for me. I also have, because of my emotional issues, it gives me more to work with because there's so much emotion going on. So that's a good thing, but that's not a challenge, but mostly my eyes, being able to see, and I'm going to go to the doctor soon to get that straightened out.
Good luck with that. I hope that it works out for you. I mean, it's frustrating. I have some issues with my eyes as well. Like reading, sometimes I have my eyes cross a lot of times when I'm reading. I don't know why. Like I get headaches too sometimes. So it's very frustrating to deal with those kinds of things, and it's very challenging to enjoy the book and enjoy the situation you're reading about, and yet you're getting all these these difficulties having to stick with the text. So it's good that you still enjoy to read and write. It's wonderful that you're doing that. How do you work around your daily frustrations and stuff and still be able to write? I mean, you obviously have time to write a poem about a person who kind of takes you off a little bit. Do you carry around a notebook and write when that happens, or?
I have paper everywhere. I just have paper everywhere. I don't even use a computer. I don't like to use the computer, and everyone's like, well, you should save your save your work on your computer because you can lose some stuff. But I'm an old-fashioned person. I use the pen and paper, and I just have paper everywhere.
Do you keep it in like a folder, or how do you keep? Yeah, so you do hold them. Yeah, I have a lot of notebooks all over my house. I mean, I have notebooks, papers everywhere. So that's definitely, I can relate to that very much. How do you keep like an alphabetical order, or do you just put them in when you write them, chronological?
I used to keep them in alphabetical order, but there's so many now, and just overflowing.
Yeah, that sounds like you can have quite a lot of poetry. I mean, after so many years of writing, you develop a big stack. You have this massive stack, and you just get tired of trying to keep track of all of it. I have the same problem. It's hard to keep orderly, and we're writers. We're focused on the writing. We're not focused on keeping them in on so much order. I do that with my books, though. I do keep my books in order. My personal library is very organized for the most part. So what do you enjoy reading the most?
I like to read other poets, Edgar Allan Poe, Emily Dickinson. I like Sarah Kay. She's on YouTube, and I really love her poems. And I got to meet her at the University of Delaware, and that was exciting for me. And I got to really meet her and get her to sign a book for me.
How did that feel, like meeting a poet you actually, you've admired for a long time, and you come face to face? I mean, how did that feel?
It was kind of rushed, actually, because there were so many people in line. So I didn't get to really talk to her, but I got to talk a little bit.
I met Nikki Giovanni several years ago, very briefly. We were staying at a hotel, and it was during the Austin International Poetry Festival. So it was very rushed because she was on her way out, and she was doing a lecture there. And I got to see the lecture, and then I came back to my hotel, and then she was staying at the same hotel. Ironically, it was kind of fun, and I talked to her for like 5 minutes. So but it was a nice little talk. Yeah, but anyway, it can be interesting meeting people that you've read, and you feel like they're strangers to you, but when you go back and you meet them in person, did you find that your way of appreciating her poetry changed at all?
Well, I was just felt blessed to be able to meet her because, like I said, she wrote a poem called Hands, and
Okay.
it's about her and her father holding hands. And I just love that poem. And I just feel, actually, I feel a little jealous because I just wish it was me up there on stage.
Right. That's definitely that's a natural human emotion. I think, you wish you were part of the crowd up there up there being viewed and listened to. Yeah, I have the same feeling sometimes when I see people up in the big names. I'm like, why can't I be there? I'm just as good, right?
But I want that's my dream, is to be heard and
Uh-huh.
to get information out about domestic violence and
Right.
incest, because it happened to me.
Right. Very unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. It's definitely an issue that's hard for people to discuss, and how often it does in fact happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not something that people talk about a lot, but it happens pretty often. So I know you're definitely not alone, but
Yeah.
it's very difficult for people to talk about, the negative side of life so much.
But I wrote a poem about that if you want to hear that one.
Okay, go ahead.
It's called One Child's Prayer.
Okay.
I came from a home of abuse. There were times when I was afraid to speak the truth. I wondered what was wrong. I did not feel like I belonged. I wish my parents wouldn't fight. I would get all uptight. I questioned my self-worth. This message is to those parents who experience a new birth. Scars are hard to erase. Use your energy with a loving embrace. Watch what you say your children see and hear. You don't want them to grow in fear, because in time, the nation will catch their tears. Listen as this poem is told. Start early to set the mold. In a matter of time, your child's beauty will unfold.
I love the way you present that. It's very emotional.
I have it memorized.
Excellent. That's always a good way to get a poem across, is memorize it, and then you can present it and to anybody who's interested. You can present it on the street to somebody who says, well, let me hear a poem. And
Yeah.
they'll be, you can read it to them off the top of your head. So if you
Yeah.
want maybe a couple more, we'll go for it. You have some
Sure.
there.
One of them is called Free Bird, and it's in my book. It's
Okay.
another one that I have memorized.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my poems have been written in red, hoping you'll get the message I've said. This one's about me, overcoming many hurdles so I can one day be free. I want to stand on a mountain and yell, this is my poem I want to tell. You don't know me or where I have been. Now I know I do. I don't want to lose. I want to win, win, win. Being around people who wanted to put me down made me a person of little sound. Then I started putting my poetry into words so I can be free as a bird.
Excellent. Yeah, that's like what we were talking about earlier, how poetry, you can say and express things that you can't do so much in front of people. It's a very passionate thing to do, is to put your words on paper. If you can share another one if you'd like.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what I have here. This isn't so serious.
Okay.
I'm going to read this in my church down the road, so I'll practice now. It's called Seasons.
Okay.
Seasons come and go. Each one makes different hearts glow. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. Delight often comes to call. Summer has the sunshine. Spring comes in proud and loud. Fall has leaves of wonderful color. They are like no other. Winter can be cold in the east, like a real beast. Snowflakes fall. The weather reporter makes the call. God shows up in each season, for each diamond in the day. Our Lord has much to say. Amen. God bless, and enjoy all the beautiful seasons.
That's a poem about being grateful for the beauty out there, beauty of nature.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I appreciate that poem. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to tell you how actually, another way I found poetry is I had a very nice supervisor in the mailroom, and he was writing poetry like I do. And I was interested in the way his style. So his birthday came up, and when it came time for his birthday, I wrote a poem for him. And then a gush of emotion just poured out of me, and still pouring out of me today.
Wow. So who else has inspired you in poetry and writing poetry?
Friends, other poets that I know. I just all of my poet friends, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there writing poetry lately. It's been a tough last couple of years for humanity, and I think people are writing more and sharing their feelings with their notebook so much more so than they were sharing with the other people a lot of times. So what inspires you the most to write?
I think people that get me upset or something in my childhood
Mhm.
or something during the day. Sometimes I look up at the moon and I'm
Right.
inspired by the moon. It's so big and white. And there's prompts in one of my Facebook chat rooms, and they have
Mhm.
prompts for different poems to write. So I go by what they give out and I go by that.
So can you give an example of a prompt that they would have on these groups? Like,
PTSD is one of them. Family is another one. Um, aliens, I remember seeing somebody put down aliens. Every month they have different challenges to give you.
do they have like a contest, or is it just sort of
No,
write and share?
just
Writing and
sharing.
sharing, yeah. A lot of the groups have contests. I was asking, they give certificates and things like that, and honor like somebody specifically, so this is just like a sharing group, where you can share your work and enjoy other people's um you know their poetry as well. That's really neat. There's not so much of the competition in that kind of
You know. But
environment. Go ahead.
I just recently got two of my poems in a literary book in Delaware,
Okay.
and I don't have them in front of me, but one is called Put the Guns Down, and the other one is I'm Not Lazy.
Interesting. So maybe
Called
you could.
Dream Streets, Dream Streets.
Uh-huh. So would you like to read a couple more poems, or
Sure, I have some more. This is called Just Relax.
hmm?
Just relax, people say. Well, really? That will be the day. Take it slow, I always hear. Why don't they feel my fear? Sit down in a chair and don't worry. Yes, but where can I take it to bury? They add, come on, it cannot be that bad. Yet they don't understand the life I've had. I've had to always pretend I'm fine. Yes, I have all my ducks in a row. I try not to let my troubles show, but they do anyway. When I go to bed, I pray that tomorrow will be a much, much better day. And I'm hoping that things will finally go my way.
No, it's very passionate, and it's a call for people to empathize with you, and I think that you using poetry to kind of communicate what your inner life is like, what you face on a daily basis. People don't see so much.
Mhm,
Very, very wonderful to hear that, and it's
mhm,
a good tool. It's an excellent tool to get across to people certain things that they don't understand sometimes. And when then people hear you read, then maybe they can see what you're experiencing and feeling that you don't
mhm.
share with them on a daily basis. So that was excellent.
Thank you. I wanted to tell you, I also joined a group called Toastmasters. I don't know if you ever heard of Toastmasters. It's a public speaking group.
Hmm.
It's international. And I gave a speech on um, a trip to London. And it wasn't funny to me, but they thought it was funny. And I'm like, so that's where I learned some more public speaking, to be on Zoom around more people.
Okay, so they learn, to talk with people and to get some pointers on how to do public speaking, and I think that can help in life too. Like, if you're a good speaker and a good communicator, you can also communicate with people on just on a one-to-one basis with them in a much more effective way than, like, if you know a little bit about public speaking as well.
Mhm. I also wanted to be like on TED Talks. I don't know if you ever heard of TED
Hmm.
Talks.
Hmm.
That's another one of my dreams, is to be on TED Talks and share how poetry can help people.
Excellent. Hopefully we'll see you one day on there.
Yeah, that's my
Uh,
dream. Another one of my dreams.
Yeah, they do those TED Talks. I've seen quite a few of those inspirational talks where they have people talking about everything from relationships to family
Yeah.
issues to all kinds of stuff. Performers talking about the creative process. That's it's fun to watch sometimes.
I'm
Do you have
also
Go
I'm
ahead.
also working on a speech about anti-bullying,
Mhm.
and I was bullied in school.
Right, I was too quite a bit. It's not a very pleasant experience, and
I
it
had
makes the learning.
four
Mhm.
girls against me,
Mm,
and that's kind of hard for someone that's shy and quiet.
right.
So part of my speech is this poem. It's called Stop the Bullies.
Okay.
Bullies come in different ages and in different height. Some hit hard and others hit light. Bullies share their rage as I share my poem on this page. These bullies found me in school. Oh, they thought they were so cool. Days became dark as bullies barked. They just came too close and they would laugh and boast. They were a group of four as they were hard to ignore. I was only one. How could I have won? Bullies know how to fight as it's just not right. Let's get along. Let's stand up and protect. With these bullies, confront and be direct.
Excellent. So
Thank
what kind of strategies did you develop when you were being bullied? How did you manage to survive that?
Well, it's pretty bad. Actually, after they followed me, and they did a lot of intimidating, 4 against 1, and followed me in the girls' room. And then they threw food at me in the lunchroom.
Mm,
And I tried to get up and tell an aide, but one girl followed me with intimidation again. So I finally, I think I told my mother, and she told the principal, and the principal said that I wasn't the only one that this was happening to.
right. It happens quite a bit and some people just, it's like their method of living in life is just to antagonize other people. I know a lot of the boys that I grew up with that really pushed me around quite a bit, and some of them are in prison now, actually. That they kind of like lived their life to the fullest of their abilities there, I guess. They ended up incarcerated, and it's a couple of them did at least, and for quite a long time, one for burglary, one for some other crimes.
Yeah.
They're not very nice people in general. They don't really deserve to be amongst the normal people.
Well, I wanted to tell you what happened the other night. I was talking to one of my other friends that was in special ed, and I was telling her that I was getting a speech ready for bullying, and we went to the same school, junior high, and she started telling, we were comparing notes, and she started telling me what was happening when she would go through the woods to go home, and these 4 girls would go after her. And I said, do you know their names? And she said, one of them. I said, well, is another one so-and-so? And she said, yes, that's her. So it was the same 4 girls that got her. And we didn't know that for 43 years.
Wow. Yeah, they tend to be the same people, tend to behave that way. There was and they don't just bully 1 or 2 people. They like to throw their weight around to a lot of people. It's a very difficult thing to have to be in a school where you have certain people who just feel like they have to throw their weight around. They have to be mean in order to get something done or to prove themselves in some way. And it makes the learning effort of people that want to be there to improve their life. It makes them have a much more difficult time. And it's really frustrating to have to deal with people like that. So it sounds like you dealt positively with it.
Yeah, I also had special ed teachers, and one special ed teacher helped me find my way around the bigger school because it was a bigger school. And then she helped me with my locker because I had trouble with my locker. And I'm thankful for the special ed teachers that I had through my lifetime, because they were very helpful to me. And also therapists were helpful to me. I mean, my family acted like there was nothing wrong. And I knew there was something wrong. So when I turned 21, I took myself to therapy.
Right. That takes a lot of bravery too, to be able to come out and realize that you're struggling with things that most people don't understand or would not quite understand. And so you go into therapy to try to deal with these situations and understand yourself a little bit better. Did you find that was effective also in helping you cultivate a kind of your love of poetry?
My brain just went. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just saying, did you find that
and my brain?
Yeah. Did you find that going to therapy helps in any way cultivate, help you, learn a little bit more about loving your love of poetry?
Well, like I said, had no voice as a child. So yes, getting out what was deep inside of me is the same thing as like digging deep down in the poet's world.
Excellent. I think we have a little bit of time left if you want to share another poem with us.
Oh my, I'm not sure if I'm not sure. Oh, yes, I do. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
great.
I do. Thank good.
Excellent.
Okay. So it's called Inviting the Angels, and this is actually made into a song. Somebody helped me make it into a song.
Oh, wow.
And I can't sing, so I'll just read it.
Okay.
When I close my eyes, let out a sigh, and feel myself at home, I'm strengthened by a love I can't deny, and all my worries I let go. And I feel that special presence glow of all the angels all around. When you find your place of inward grace and you feel yourself at home, be strengthened by the angels' glow of all the angels all around. The angels let the love within abound. As you sleep at night, you'll be your guiding light as you dream anew. When you wake each day, feel their presence stay everywhere you go, as you live and grow with the angels all around. Let your angels sing. Let their love take wing in your hearts. Know that you are loved. You are safe and loved by the angels.
Thank you for sharing that. It's a very hopeful poem, and I think it has a lot of passion and you know, a good sound, you know, hope to it. And I think people hearing that would be filled with joy, you know, and hearing the kind of something of that nature. There's not a lot of stuff to be happy about these days, but you know, it's very tough living. But I think that was a very nice poem. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I was lucky to find some lady at another church that helped me put my poetry into song, and then those songs were sang at my church.
Oh wow, that's excellent. I'm glad to hear that. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful to see your work actually taken to the next level. Somebody
Right.
picks it up and
Right.
you know, does something with it that you weren't expecting that when you wrote it, and they enjoy, you know, singing and you enjoy writing, so they do go together. Yeah, with someone singing, you're writing now, so it's kind of cool, and you know, it's nice to see that happen.
Yeah, so I'm glad.
So what do you do to prepare to write? Is there any particular thing, like do you get a cup of tea, or do you sit down and think about what you're gonna say?
Well, I take a lot of pictures. I like to take a lot of photos. I like to draw sometimes. I like to sometimes watch a movie. Sometimes I just like to sit quiet and listen to the silence and just start writing. And like I said, I have so much in my head. It just
Right.
keeps coming.
Excellent. It's a wonderful experience, you know, to write something. And when I find that the silence, I like to write at night myself. So it's a very fun experience, you know, when it's very quiet and still, and all of this, there's not so much all of this hustle bustle going on in life, you know, people doing all their things, making all their noise, and you can sit at night and just kind of relax and let the words come out, you know. But I'm very much the same way. What is something you're really grateful for in life?
Oh my gosh. Like, well, for one thing, the tutor that introduced me to reading and writing, and these special ed teachers and the therapists, it takes a village.
Yeah, it does.
It really takes a village to help people.
It quite definitely takes a lot of people helping one person, and it's a very powerful thing, a very wonderful and powerful thing.
I'm also thankful that well, my stepfather was a problem. Anyway, I was able to get on into my own condo and move out.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, that's good.
Wonderful. So if you want to say something to writers out there, still out there listening in, you know, just tell us what what kind of advice you would have for writers out there.
To listen to your heart, to continuously write. Don't worry about anything being spelled wrong or anything like that. Just keep writing and go back into your childhood, or maybe a time on the beach, or just go back in your memory and keep sharing in groups.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Lorraine. It's been wonderful and pleasant talking with you, and I'm glad we were able to give you a voice on the program. And just keep writing, keep up the spirit of writing, and hopefully we'll get you this video out to you soon when we get it up on YouTube. And it's very pleasant speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're quite welcome. It's a wonderful opportunity for anybody out there to get in touch with me at Literary Corner, New York Parrot. Literary Corner at New York Parrot is where you can find me if you would like to be on the show. And this has been the New York Parrot Literary Corner, and I'm Dustin Pickering. We have an anthology coming out in August 1st. If you guys out there who are in the anthology or anybody wants a copy, let us know. PayPal.me/NYParrot is where that anthology can be purchased for $17. And anybody out there who wants to be on the program, just be in touch with me. And as well, and this anthology contains about 3 months worth of our guests' work and several things from the website. And so you can get a good idea of what we're about and what we're looking for from this anthology. And it'll be wonderful to hear from anybody who is interested in getting in touch with me at literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. If you want to be a guest, if you want to talk about the anthology, anything you want to do. And by the way, subscribe. Everyone out there needs to subscribe to this channel. It's 1 million subscribers is what we're looking for. So please do not hesitate at all. And just for those out there, some of you guys don't like PayPal. I know that, I understand. So you can get in touch with me by Western Union or MoneyGram or Cash App or one of those various outlets. If you want to talk to me about how to do that, then get in touch with me either on Facebook or through literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. I'd like to thank our guest one more time, Lorraine McMillian. Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks to all our viewers and subscribers and listeners out there. You guys are the fruit of what we do. Don't forget, keep writing, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the day, and keep reading. And just don't give up. Whatever you're doing out there, whatever creative pursuit you have, just keep at it with all your heart, all your passion, and every energy and fiber of your being. And don't give in to the forces of darkness that want to take that from you. Thank you very much again, Lorraine. Have an excellent afternoon, everybody. And this is Dustin Pickering signing off for the New York Parrot Literary Corner.